Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today, I'm going to be doing my review of the New Eternia version of She-Ra by Mattel. So, without any further ado, roll that intro. So here she is in packaging. I like the packaging for her. So right up top, you have Mattel, your age restriction, 30 points of articulation. Got the Masterverse. All right. Over on the side here, you got She-Ra. You got a small open window where you can see her sword, 40 years of She-Ra. Now, this is the cool part. So, it says Masters of the Universe New Etheria. So, I like the factor that they didn't add her to the Eternia line. It's actually her own, universe. So, they went back to her planet, New Etheria. So, I like that a lot. I'm hoping that this is going to be the doorway to a whole new realm of, She-Ra figures from her world. So, I'm really excited about that. So right here, you got her. She's fighting Montana. Got this little guy here from the cartoon. I 100% forget his name. All right. So you got this nice picture of her. I like how she looks in this. This looks really cool. And of course, it's some wraparound art. All right. So you got Swiftwind here, the owl from the original cartoon. All right. Bring her around this way. You get some nice pictures of the figure. Now, I like this picture of her here. I like this pose. It's a very powerful pose. I like the overall look to that. You can see the fright zone behind her. All right, you got a nice picture of her, a little bit about her. Everybody that's part of this wave. You got your Mattel logo. Bring it around this way. Here, let's center her a little bit better. Back. So you got a nice headshot of her. You have a nice profile picture of her as well. I like this picture. I like the overall look to this. So that looks really nice. Back around this way. You get your legal and skew underneath. So with all that being said, let's open her up and see what she's about. So here she is out of packaging. I like the overall look to her. So first thing we're going to do is go through her points of articulation. So the head does move. All right, you got a shoulder joint here. No kind of swivel to it at all. A little bit, man. She is tight. That ball joint is really tight. You do get some movement in there. Not as much as I would like. All right, you got elbow joint here. A wrist joint. Let's try this other side. Nah, that's really tight and hard to move too. All right, so these arms are giving me some problems. All right, I could get almost afraid to do a full rotation of this arm because as you can see, it just really wants to fight. Maybe it needs to be loosened up a little bit, but the shoulders are definitely giving me a lot of fight. And you have a joint here underneath the breasts. All right, and you have a swivel here at the hips. So this one under here is a little bit tight too, but I can get the movement in it. All right, you got a swivel here at the hips as well as this one here. So you get some good movement in there. You got knee joint. All right. You should have a swivel at the top of the boot. And then you have an ankle joint. All right, get her back into the stand, looking pretty decent here. Got these shoulder pieces that kind of just sit loose. They're like part of this whole garb around her neck. All right, so get her back onto the stand here. All right. So we went through the joints. Like I said, these shoulders are really, really tight. I'm not too sure how I feel about them. Maybe if you get a little bit of hot water on them, it may loosen it up a little bit more so you can get some more range of movement. But as for the points of articulation, that's the biggest issue I have with her. So now let's take an overall look at this figure. So we're going to look at the head sculpt first. Now I do like the face in there. I like the design to that. I even kind of like the translucent look. You know, at first it wasn't really suiting right with me, but it kind of grew on me as I looked the figure over. All right. But now we're going to take a look at her hair. So you look at the top of her hair, looks all right, but it looks very painted on. You know, like the color doesn't sit in there naturally. You can see like blotches of paint in there and stuff. So I really would have liked to have seen the hair, at least the top of it, look a little bit better and what have you. So now we're going to get down into this lighter translucent look. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to go with the look from the original figure with her here that had more of a, translucent look. So I think that's what they're trying to go with this. But the problem with that to me is things seem to blend in a little bit too much. Like this pink here really blends in with the white. Unless if you're really looking at it, it could be easy to miss. But the gold comes out really nice, but that's also painted on, so I do like that. You know, she does have the standard Princess of Power style boots. Bring her over to this side. You can see that gold a little bit better. And even a little bit around the pink, you got like a gold around it. But I feel like that gold should be a little bit darker so it pops out a little bit more. All right. She does have some like designs in here as well, though you can barely see it because there's nothing to do to make those designs pop. They're just there. All right, get back into her hair. Now, once again, exactly what I was saying. If you look at her hair, it looks very painted on. It doesn't feel natural. It just looks like somebody took a paintbrush and just, kind of globbed on some paint. So I'm not liking how they did the hair on her. You know, it doesn't have like that natural flow color to it. All right, and then you got, her armor, her cape here. And it's part of the armor. So if you look, I think you could pull the head off. But, nah, I'm not going. Yeah, you can pull that head off. All right, so when you pull the head off, you can see that this can actually come off. All right, so you got this whole armor piece here. And you got these old flimsy shoulder pieces. All right. And now with that off, you could get a really good look at the pattern here on the back. Let's get her back on the stand here. All right. So you get a good look at the patterning and what have you, which would be really neat if, like I said, they did something to make it pop. But they don't. So we're going to put this back on her. All right. Put this on. And then bring her around this way. So you have the arm gauntlet here with the blue gem. And back around to the front. So now let's go through her accessories. So first off, she has two hands, which are in fists. So you have one hand here. You have the other hand here. All right. Next off, she has her sword. Now this sword is more styled to the original figure. All right, opposed to most of your figures that you actually get the protection sword with her, just like the Filmation cartoon. But no, this you get a sword very much similar to the original figure sword. And then last but not least, she comes with a shield. So we're going to look and see how well all this works with her. So first off, let's get this sword in hand. All right. Should just work right on in there. It does. No issues with this particular sword. All right, let's try the shield. All right. Fits well through this hand. Up the wrist. You know what? We're going to take this hand off. It'll just make it so much easier to put the shield on. Or maybe not. The shield does not want to move up. There it goes. Come on. Alright, we're getting a lot of resistance trying to get the shield on. Alright, I might have to put the fists on to get it through there. Hold up. Okay, this is giving me a problem. Let me, whoops, help if I actually put the right hand on. All right, now it's kind of stuck. All right, let's try seeing if we could push that on through. All right, got the shield on. It's a little bit difficult to work in there, but it does work. It works a lot better with one of the fist hands. I might try a different way of putting it on. Usually you take the hand off, you slide the shield on, and then it doesn't give you no issues, but it's just, move this arm out of the way, move this out like that so we could see it. So these straps were giving me a little bit of an issue because they're really, really tight on there. I was eventually able to get everything into place, so it does work. All right, and while I'm at it, let's just swap this hand off for the other closed fist. All right, there we go. So both fists fit well. The shield was a little bit of an issue to get on. Now I wanted to do a couple quick comparisons opposed to the Princess of Power version of She-Ra and the new Etheria She-Ra. So as you can see, her outfit's more of a translucent, all right, where hers is a darker color. But as you can see, the way how the golds are darker and everything, it makes her outfit pop more, where the more translucent, you can't really see any of the real color in her, especially when it comes to the pink. The pink sort of blends into the white, so if you're not really looking for it, let me get this arm up here so you can see more of the pink. So if you're not really looking for that pink, it just blends in, and even the gold does. There's a lot of blending in, where when you look at this one here, as you can see, everything's darker, more defined, even though I do like the arm gauntlets on her a little bit better, because you can see the shape and design where hers, if you look at her gauntlet, yes, there's a nice design in it, but the gold blends too much in with her arm, so you can't really see it unless if you're really looking at it. All right. So spin these two ladies back around this way. Now, before I do that, I want to look at the head sculpts too. I kind of like this head sculpt a little bit better. It has a more woman look, like a little bit more defined, strong feminine look, where this one, it is a nice head sculpt. It's a lot more defined, but it has a younger look to it, where this one has an older look to the face, if you understand what I'm trying to say here. But what I really wanted to show everybody, bring them around to the back, is the hair. This is what I'm talking about with the hair. See how this hair looks sloppy? It just looks like somebody, like, once again, just glob paint on it, where this one, as you look at it, you can see nice strokes in it. It has a flow to it. It looks like, you know, somebody actually took time to make the hair look nice. It kind of sways in with the hair flow, where this one, it just looks like I keep saying, it just looks like somebody globbed paint all over the head. So I'm not a fan of this hair at all. I like this hair a lot better and what have you. And back around to the front for both figures. So let's get into my final thoughts with this figure. So first off, the joints for the most part work very well. I'm a little concerned about the shoulders. I'm not too hip on how the range of movement in them, maybe with a little bit of heat, might loosen them up, get them to move a little bit better, but I wasn't too impressed with that. The body joints were a little bit stiff, but that's nothing a little bit of heat can't cure, so I'm not too concerned about that. The rest of her joints work fine, no issues there. As for her accessories, her hands swapped out very well. Her weapons work well with her too. Didn't have any real issues except for the shield. Gave me a little bit of trouble, but nothing that a little bit of monkeying around won't fix. Now let's get into the look of the figure. Um, I'm a little iffy on the look, okay? There's things I like, things I don't like about how she looks. One, I do like the face sculpt. I think the face sculpt looks really nice. I like how it has a more mature warrior look to it. So I do like the face sculpt. Um, the piece around the face looks all right. You know, looks pretty cool. As for the translucent look, I find it okay. I feel like it could do a little bit better. Like I said, her belt or her pink sash here kind of blends in a little bit with the white. Maybe if they would have gave it a darker gold barrier, might help it pop a little bit more. But you know, so yeah, I just feel like this kind of just blends into itself. Um, this armor piece here with the cape, I'm not too impressed with that. I feel like it's a little flimsy, especially seeing other She-Ra figures where it's done a lot better. As I showed, comparing her to the Princess of Power She-Ra, you know, I liked her armor a lot better than this. This is just a little too flimsy for me. And the one thing I really can't get past with this figure is the hair. I don't like how they painted the hair at all. I just feel like they just took paint and globbed it on there. It doesn't look nice. It doesn't have a good flow to it. It just doesn't work for me. As I compared it with the Princess of Power one, you can see how her paint job, you know, the paint strokes and all flowed with her hair. It looked nice. This just looked like it was globbed on, like somebody didn't care or whatever. So I wasn't impressed with the hair, which is a shame because, you know, other than that, it's an okay figure. So at the end of the day, would I recommend this figure? Eh. Unfortunately, she's just another She-Ra figure. There's nothing about her that really jumps out at me, except for, like I said, her having the old school Princess of Power weapons. Other than that, there's not really all that much that's spectacular to me. If you really want a She-Ra figure that goes well with your new Eternia figures, I would highly suggest the Princess of Power one. I feel like that's a better figure than this one, as you saw when I compared the two together. This one does have some fine points, but I don't think it's enough for me to say this is a must-have. Um, she would probably be one that you would use to complete your collection. If you're a completist and you want everybody, then you might get her. If you're not too sure about her, you know, she can be a miss if there's other figures that you would prefer to get. Other than this one, like I said, the main thing I do like about her is her weapons. I like the classic weapons, but other than that, she's definitely not going to be on the top 10 list of my favorite Masterverse characters. So with that being said, I hope you guys did like this review. If you did, go ahead and check out my Masters of the Universe playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So until the next one, late.